What's up creators, it's Matt with My Designs here. In this video I'm going to show you how you can easily build and list a digital products bundle on your Etsy shop in less than 20 minutes. So let's get started. The first thing you need to do is go to mydesigns.io and either log in or create an account, and you can do that by clicking this Get Started button. As you can see, I'm already logged in, so I'm going to click here in the top right corner, Open as My Designs. Now this is just an account that we use for videos, but once you get to this point, what you can do is extend the menu out like this, and then we're going to navigate to the listings tab here. Now you can see we have no listings inside of this collection, and we're also nested under the home collection, which is where you'll originally be started at. So in order to create a new folder or collection, whatever you would like to call it, we're going to click this home button. And then I'm going to actually go to our YouTube folder where we use this to create videos. And I'm going to click Add Folder. Now for this example I'm going to be showing you guys, it's going to be a Christmas SVG bundle, which I've done quite a bit of research on, and they seem to sell really well year round. Or excuse me, not year round, but towards the end of the year, towards Christmas. So I'm going to go ahead and just name this Christmas Digital Bundle. And then I'm going to click Add New Folder here. And you'll see it popped up here. So now I'm just going to click into this collection, and then in the bottom right here, I'm going to click Open Folder. So now you'll see we still have empty listings. Now you can either use Dream AI to generate your images that you want to sell, or if you have your own already saved to your computer, you can just upload here by clicking Upload and then Upload Files. I'm going to be using Dream AI. So on our left menu here again, I'm going to navigate under Create and click Dream AI. Now you'll see we have a bunch of different models here that you can use. You can also see additional models here. For this example, I will be using Ideogram version 3. Our mode is going to be text to image. Style is design. We're going to generate 2 images at a time per prompt, and we're also going to generate them at a 1-to-1 aspect ratio. I personally like to leave magic prompt off. If you have this on, it will basically change your prompt to if it thinks it can be better, it will adjust it, but I personally like to keep my prompts exactly how they are. Now, these are the types, as you can see, these images are the types that we're going to be selling. We're going to convert them into SVGs and then bundle them and sell them as a package. You can see that I've generated quite a few ahead of time already. But I will show you how I used this and how I also scaled to get this. So you can see we have one prompt here. This was used, it looks like, to generate the candy cane. So what I'm going to do is just copy this prompt, and then we're going to jump over to ChatGPT, and then specifically we're going to be on the My Designs GPT here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically say analyze this prompt and scale it to 6 different, well, let's do a little bit more than 6. I'm going to bundle as 6, but let's say 10 different Christmas ideas, just so that we have a few different ones to pick from. So Christmas ideas, and then I'm just going to do 2 line breaks here and paste that prompt in here. So My Designs GPT was trained to specifically scale these prompts and then give them back to you in a format so that you can just copy and paste all of the prompts at once, and I'll show you how to do that. So you'll see it's taking this one right here that was typically a candy cane, and you'll see it's saying a minimalist black and white illustration, which is great. And then all we have to do once these are done, I'm not going to read through them all, but we want to start from the bottom here, and we'll just copy all the way up to the start of the very first prompt. Now you can see there's a space in between each prompt, and the reason that it's formatted that way is so that when we go back into My Designs Dream AI here, we can turn parallel prompts on. Now that says each new line will generate a separate image, so that's why it's specifically formatted that way. I'm going to again highlight this, paste what we copied from the My Designs GPT, and now you'll see it's using quite a bit more credits because we're generating 10 different prompts at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and click Dream, and then I'll go through those as soon as it's done and show you what they look like. All right, that took about 30 seconds to finish generating every one of those prompts. So 2 images, it's 20 images if we go 10 prompts times 2. And you can see we got some pretty good results here. So I'm just going to select the ones that I like the most, and then we'll go go with this. And I'm just going to select 6 of them for this example. You can obviously do more than this, but I'm just showing you how to do a bundle. So I'll go ahead and select this hat. Maybe we'll use the deer here. I like this gingerbread man, a stocking, a snowflake, a gift. These are all really good, and we already have 6 right there. So if we wanted to, we can keep going, and obviously we might want to include, you know, a Santa Claus head, because that's, you know, that's very, you know, much Christmas related. Maybe we'll remove the snowflake, and we'll just go with these 6 for now. And like I said, if you want to bundle more, feel free to select as many as you'd like here. But once we select the images, you can see they're highlighted blue. And then up here it says we have 6 out of, that means up, we can select up to 120 listings. But I'm just going to go ahead and click, excuse me, save to listings. And then this is going to create 6 new listings, but we actually want them on one single listing. So there's a few ways to do this. You can either create a listing ahead of time and then just save these all into one listing by saying save to an existing listing. But since we haven't created any, I'll show you a different way to do it. We'll just do create new listing here. And then I'm going to click save to listings and yes, store images. Now, once that's done, it should just take about 30 seconds. We'll jump back over to the listings tab. Looks like it's already done here. And you can see we have all of them saved. But we do also need to do some work here. So what I want to do first of all is select all of these images. So I'm just going to do that by clicking this button here. You can also select them individually by clicking on them. But anyways, My Designs is built to do everything in bulk. So that's why we're going to select all the listings at once. I'm then going to go to image here, and I'm going to click remove background. These are PNGs, but we're going to convert them to SVGs as well. So I'm going to I think that's going to do a really good job removing the background on all these, as they're just really simple files. So I'm not going to generate a preview, and I'm also going to overwrite the file. So you can see the input file slot is basically the file we're feeding to the system. The output file slot is where we're going to save the new file. So I'm just going to overwrite it here, leave it as our newest model, and click remove background. And then once again, this should take about 30 seconds, and I'll show you what those look like. All right, now that the backgrounds are now removed, I will switch over to a grid view here so that we can hide our data and see the images better. And now you'll see the background is perfectly removed on all of these designs. So the next step here is I'm actually going to convert these files to an SVG, but I'm going to also adjust the sizing. Well, I'll do that afterwards. So first we're going to convert to SVGs. So I'm going to actually switch back to the list view here. And then once again, make sure you have all of your listings selected. And we're going to go to image, and then we're going to click vectorize image. And once again, I'm just going to go ahead and save this over the main file slot there. And then I'm going to click vectorize image. And once again, this is going to take a few seconds, and then I'll show you what those look like as well. Great, and now that we have these files converted to an SVG, our next step is to set up our PNG files. So I'm going to show you how to do that, but before we do, we actually need to adjust our template. As you can see, we have a file slot here that's called main file, and then we just have mockups 1 through 10, and you can really save any files into these, but I just want to name them properly so that it doesn't confuse anyone. So we're going to go to template here, and we're going to add a few slots. First of all, I'm going to change the main file name to just be file 1, and then click update. And then here I'm going to go file 2 and paste here 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that will be our files that we're actually selling. And then I also want to reorder them so that they're the right way. And once we adjust here, now all we have to do is just click Save Changes, and then Update Templates Only, and Update Template. Now, you'll see here that it added our additional file slots. So our first 6 files are going to be here, and then our mockups are going to be after that. So what I want to do now is go into our Canvas system, and I'm going to go to Templates. We're going to do a custom size. And I'm going to do 4500 by 5400, and I'm going to be exporting these as PNGs. This is the typical dimensions that people use PNGs for. It's best for t-shirts, sweatshirts, and things like that. So now I'm going to click Add Listing File, and then Add to All. What Add to All is going to do is add to every one of these canvases our individual designs. And then I'm going to just adjust the size. And these are going to scale perfectly without losing quality because they're SVGs. That's what they're built for. Once I adjust one, all I have to do is right click it and then click sync. And you'll see it applies the same sizing changes to all of our listings at once. Now I'm going through because some of them might be a little bit different like this, and I'm going to make some adjustments accordingly. Looks like that might be the only one, but with ones like this, we can actually make them a little bit bigger if we would like. But that looks good to me. So now that we have them adjusted how we would like to, I'm just going to click save. And then the format here we can adjust if we would like to. I'm saving these as PNGs so that I can sell an SVG and a PNG in this same bundle to my customers. The reason I'd like to do that is a lot of people don't know how to use SVGs or might not have the right programs to use it. So I like to include a PNG in the bundle as well. But now that I have that selected, I'm going to just save them in the second file here and then click save. And I'll show you what that looks like once they're done. Great, now those files are done saving and we now have all of the files that we need to set up our bundle. So from here, like I said earlier, we need all of these designs to actually be on one single listing. And off of camera, I did actually add additional file slots here. We remembered we needed up to 12 because we're gonna save 6 SVGs and 6 PNGs into these file slots. So next step here, I want to go back to the grid view so we can hide this data and just see our images. Now what I'm going to do is just simply drag and drop these files into these empty file slots, which you can do like this. I don't even think you need to select it. I think we can just drag and drop like this. And now that we have all of our designs on one single listing, I'm going to go ahead and delete these other ones we were working with. And like I said earlier in the video as well, there are a few ways to do this. This isn't the only way, but it's the way that I prefer to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these designs. I selected them all, as you can see, and then here's our exact files that we're selling. There's one SVG, and you can tell by hovering over, it tells us it's an SVG, and then it tells this that this one is a PNG. So we're going to be selling all of these. Our next step now is to create some mock-ups to showcase our designs, and I'm going to show you a really cool way to do that. So let's switch back over to the list view, and then I'm going to select my listing once again, and I'm going to go to mock-ups, and then I'm going to do image mock-ups. And I'm actually going to go to the top right corner here and click load profile. And we have a few public profiles that we've made that should be available to you. But I'm going to select this top one that says digital bundles set of 6. So you can see it just added all of the mockups that we want as part of this bundle. So you don't have to go through and do it. But what we do need to do is map out the files that we want to show. So we only have 6 files. It's showcasing just 3 because it's selecting the SVGs and the PNGs. So we'll leave the SVG here, and then we'll just select the next SVG, which should be easy to find. So we'll go 11, then I believe 9, and then this next one here should be 7, I believe. So you can see it now says these are all our SVGs, and you can use your PNGs too. It doesn't really matter, but that's just the way I prefer to do it. And then on this one, we can do the exact same thing. So we're just going to adjust these. I believe 3 should be an SVG. We'll go 5, 7, 9, and 11. So that's all of our designs right there. We'll go to the next one and do the same thing. We're basically just mapping out where these mockups are going. So you can see there's going to be 6 images shown here. One that's big on the t-shirt, so that's going to be the first one. So we might actually want to change this to showcase a different design than our last mockup. So I'm going to go ahead and select 5 here, and then we'll do 1, 3, 7, and 9, and then 11 here. And I also won't keep going through and doing this over and over. I really just wanted to show you once how to do it, and you can order those in whatever way that you would like. So for these individual mock-ups, I'm actually just going to select what I think is going to be the image that pops out the most, and I definitely feel like it's going to be obviously the more Christmas related ones. Frame color, we can leave black there on that. That's just fine. I want the color to be white on the hoodie. And by the way, when you build and save profiles, the colors are going to save as well as where these files are being pulled from. So really you can set up one profile that you can load every time that works perfect, and then you won't even have to go in and map them like I am. But now that we have the mockups ready to go, all we have to do is click generate mockups here at the bottom. Yes, generate mockups. It just wants us to confirm, and I'll show you what those look like as soon as it's done. All right, those mockups are now done being generated. So I'm going to switch back to a grid view here so you can see them a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to show you what they look like. So this is showcasing, like I said, one of our primary designs a little bit bigger, and then our additional designs in this bundle. That one's shown on a mug. This one is just showing all on t-shirts, and says that it's a digital instant download. And then this just shows the product on a few other mockups. Now you can always add more mockups if you'd like to. Obviously Etsy allows up to 10 per listing plus a video. But I'm going to leave it at 5 to save some time here. But I do want to show you, you can also generate a video mockup with these. So now that we have our mockups generated, we're going to go back to mockups. We're going to select video mockups this time. And then we're just going to select these in the order we want them to show. So I'm going to start with this one since it says digital download. I want people to understand they're not receiving anything physical, just a digital file. And then I'll just order these ones like that. We don't need to generate a preview. You can see it's saving in our video mockup slot. And I'll just click submit, and I'll show you what that looks like when it's done. All right, that video is done generating. So I'm just going to go ahead and click the slot here, and you'll see it's just a quick transition slideshow that showcases all of your mockups that you have. But listings have been known to perform better on Etsy when there is a video attached, because someone can just hover over your listing on the main page and it will start filtering through those mockups automatically. So now that we have our mockups done and our design files ready to go, our next step is to get data done. And we have a really cool feature here called Vision AI that analyzes an image you give it and then generates data based off of that image. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Vision AI here, which is this little eye icon. Make sure your listing selected once again. And then the input file slot is the one that we want it to scan essentially. So what I'm going to do is actually select one of the mockups in this case, the one that says digital download. And then we're going to change the product type here from t-shirt to digital. The platform we're selling these on is Etsy. We're going to use our newest model, and then this is just saying we want it to generate title, description, and tags. And what I like to tell people with Vision AI is it gets you about 85 to 90% there, but I always recommend reading through your data and then maybe changing out some keywords that don't make sense, because it's not going to be perfect, but it's a really good starting point. I'm not going to generate any product features as this isn't a physical product, it's a digital, but I do want to add custom instructions here, and I'm going to just give it a little more details to go on. So I'm going to say something like this is a digital, well, we'll say Christmas digital product bundle being sold as 6 PNGs and 6 SVGs. Please include this in the data. And then we'll go ahead and run that. And obviously you can get more detailed with your custom instructions. One thing I like to do sometimes is to actually give it a example title, example tags, etc., so that it has a little more to go off of. But we're going to click generate listing data and yes, run Vision AI. That shouldn't take very long, and then I'll show you what those results look like. Great, and now that that is done, you can see our title here says Christmas Digital Bundle, SVG, PNG files, Christmas designs, holiday vectors, Santa reindeer, stocking, gingerbread, present, hat. So it got all of our actual files in here, which normally I don't think would be needed. I would probably change these out if it was something I was actually selling on my shop. But just to save time, I'm not going to adjust these. One thing that I do want to point out with Etsy though, when you're selling AI generated files, they like you to include that in the data that you're selling an AI file. So I'm going to just add a star here like this and add another line break, and then just say this is an AI generated design. And I also want to make sure that they understand that this is only a digital file they're receiving. So I just wanted to read through the description and make sure that it said something like that. But what I'm also going to do is just add another star and say this is a digital download file only, just so that people have more clarity. So at this point, we essentially are ready to go to publish. So I'm going to go ahead and click publish in the top right corner. Once again, make sure you have your listing selected, or listings if you're working with multiple. I'm going to click publish, and then we're going to go to Etsy digital. So we want to make sure we're under digital, not print on demand, and then we're going to select Etsy. At this point, we're going to select the files to sell, as we're doing this as a bundle, and then we already have all of our files ready to go. So once again, this is the reason I set it up this way. We've got one SVG and one PNG for each of the 6 designs. So now that we've selected all of our files that our customer is going to receive, we're going to click next step. This is where we want to select our mockups, and they actually should be automatically selected for you. But if you want to change the order in which they appear, which I think this one is a good primary mockup, I'm going to just leave it. But if you want to change the order, let's say we wanted this one to be first, just all you have to do is drag it to the front, and they will appear in this exact order that you have them on here. So make sure that you change that there. If you want to add a watermark, you can do that, which will put a watermark over your actual mockups, so that some people do that so others can't steal their ideas. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to click next step. Now we can actually change data here or run Vision AI here again, but we did the data ahead of time. But it shows us on this left side all of the files we're selling in this bundle. And then the price and quantity should actually be up here, but that's a little UI bug going on, so that will be updated. But we're going to change the price here. So this is a digital file bundle. Let's say maybe we wanted to sell it for $3.98 with the idea that maybe we're going to run a 50% off discount. I'm not sure why that's not letting me type. There we go, $3.98, and then quantity I always leave at $9.99. That's the max Etsy will let you do, but we don't really care too much about the quantity. We want as many people to buy it as can. But now that we're done here, all we have to do is click next step. And this just gives us one final preview of what our listing looks like. So here's our title, price and quantity, our description, as well as our tags circled in blue. And then we've got our mock-up showing over here. If you have multiple shops connected, you can change the shop you're publishing to here. The category is automatically set to digital. So all we have to do is just click publish. This should take less than 30 seconds. Once it's done, I'm going to jump over to my Etsy shop and show you what the listing looks like there. All right, we're now over on our Etsy shop. I'm going to navigate to the shop manager here, and then I'm going to go to listings. And everything that's published through My Designs will always go to your draft folder, as you do have to pay that 20-cent listing fee. But you can see here is our listing with the primary mock-up exactly as we had it. So we'll go ahead and click in here. You see all of our mock-ups are here, our title, description, tags, etc. And then I wanted to point out one more thing. This is what your actual customer will receive here when you publish through My Designs. What we do is create a PDF that then has a link to download your files. So this is what the PDF looks like that I just downloaded. And this is what it will look like for your customer as well. So it says, thank you for your purchase. Click the download button to get your file. So all we have to do is click download. It will automatically open up the browser and start the download for you. And then we'll go ahead and open that up. So as you can see, here are all of our files that our customer is going to receive. There's 6 SVGs, which are the 3 I highlighted on top and bottom, and then the 6 PNGs. So if I open up one of these, you can see there's our gingerbread file, and then all the other ones as well. So now all we have to do here is simply select this listing and then click publish. Pay that 20-cent listing fee, and then it is live on our Etsy shop. And that's how easy it is to publish digital product bundles in less than 20 minutes to your Etsy shop by using My Designs. If you guys have any questions, please drop them below. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.